Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Institute of Coaching podcast, Coaching Revealed. My name is Jeffrey Hull. I'm the Executive Director of the Institute of Coaching. I am really excited to kick off our third season, and our season topic is called Journey to Coaching Success. We thought it would be a good idea and helpful to the coaches that are thinking about entering the profession, or even some of the seasoned coaches that are members of the Institute of Coaching, to think about the challenges of building a coaching business in today's world. But today, we have a very special guest. We have founder of a major coaching organization that many of you have heard of called AceUp. Will Foussier is a very dear friend of the Institute of Coaching. He's a member, along with myself, of Dr. Marshall Goldsmith's 100 Coaches community, and he is a strategic advisor at the Institute of Coaching, where he has been one of the founding supporters of our research into human-centered leadership. And we thought he would be a great place to start on the journey to success, because Will is very special in that he's not only a coach, but he's the founder of a successful coaching company. And having been in the business long enough to know the challenges, the opportunities, not only of being a coach, but of also scaling, growing, and building a coaching business, we thought it would be great to spend some time with Will and learn about how he got started in the business and what he considers to be the current challenges and opportunities, and also the future of coaching. So I want to welcome you, Will.
Thank you for having me, Jeff. It's a real pleasure to have this conversation with you.
It's great to have you as our kickoff speaker for this new series. And let me just take a quick minute for those of you who don't know Will and his amazing background. Will is an alumni of Harvard and also an alumnus of the Techstars startup organization. He was named one of Forbes 30 under 30, and his company, AceUp, is incredibly advanced, using AI-powered platforms and working with a global network of thousands of executive coaches. He does leadership coaching, systemic team coaching, robust talent analytics, all different levels of an incredible roster of major organizations all around the world. And as I mentioned before, he's a strategic advisor at the Institute of Coaching, where I'm the executive director. And he is a founding member and funder of the IOC, the Institute of Coaching Research Consortium on Human-Centered Leadership. We are super excited to have our kickoff of this new series, Journey to Success, with you here, Will. I know we're going to dive into a dialogue, but I also just want to thank you for your contributions, your generosity, and your commitment, both to the Institute and to the research behind what we stand for, and to the coaching profession. You know, I know a lot of coaches, I know a lot of coaching organizations, and what you do with AceUp is particularly special in that you're really committed to working with coaches to make sure that they're on the leading edge, that they have access, education, and awareness of the latest science. And that's near and dear to our hearts at the Institute of Coaching. So love to hear, you have a unique story, and not everybody jumps into coaching, starts a coaching company, and has the kind of success you've had. So give us a little background. How did it all come about? Why coaching?
It's a great place to start. And I just add one word to thank you for your very humbling introduction. I also want to say thank you to the Institute of Coaching. The IOC has been an incredible partner for us. And I am convinced personally that AceUp wouldn't be what it is today if it wasn't for the Institute. So it's beyond a pleasure and an honor for us to be part of the journey and continuously support the incredible work you do on coaching science globally. So why coaching? I started my young career in a few years. I'll have to remove the young, I guess, because time flies. But I did started in the finance industry. It was a good opportunity for me after my bachelor to develop technical and analytical skills. And so I was working in London in an asset management firm called Raymond James as a financial analyst. Great opportunity. I have to be frank, though, it was not that uplifting of an experience. And after some time, it was clear to me that didn't want to project myself. And I had the incredible opportunity to move to New York, to the Clinton Foundation. This was exactly 10 years ago. And in the Clinton Foundation, I was part of a branch of the foundation, which was called at the time CGI, Clinton Global Initiative, which was kind of the business branch enabling the foundation to do its work all around the world. And I was part of a small team related to social impacts. And within that team, I was using part of the skills that I started to develop in my career. So I was essentially raising funds and assessing investments in humanitarian initiatives around education. In short, we're using education as a way to empower underserved communities in the US and abroad. And that was my first step in the world of the democratization of education. And as I was, especially at the time, really looking for something meaningful to do with my life and career, I was really profoundly humbled by this work and the incredible impact it had on many people's lives and careers. And part of the solutions we were using, among many, was coaching. And the Clintons are actually huge advocates. And I have been more than once literally mesmerized to see that it was maybe the most impactful solution we could bring to people to help them unleash their potential. And so this has been the beginning of my journey to understand what is coaching. And this led me to read many books by a certain Marshall Goldsmith and another one named John Kotter at the time. And this led me actually to experiment for myself a coaching journey. It was a tedious process, especially back in the days that the industry was especially opaque. It has changed since, but I ended up finding a coach who I trusted and I really wanted to start a journey with. And long story short, it was a life-changing experience for me, literally. And this is how my passion, and I would even say my obsession for coaching started.
That's amazing. I mean, so did you have a point at which you wanted to become a coach prior to wanting to start a coaching company? How did that transition take place?
Yes, it's a great question. And I would say my first idea was not necessarily to become a coach myself, but because the industry, especially at the time, could benefit from more transparency, more accessibility, so that coaching is not only a solution that can be deployed to a few at the top of the organization, but have the ambition to be accessible to all who wants it and who needs it. So my first idea was really to leverage technology. And we really started as essentially a marketplace. We have evolved tremendously since then, but as a marketplace where we wanted to connect the best coaches in the world to individuals and organizations. At the time, I really wanted to develop my subject matter expertise. There was somewhere some imposter syndrome. So before thinking about becoming a coach as a way to hone my vision for AceUp, this is what got me to move back to Boston to do a degree that I did in finance, but with a concentration in organizational behavior. And that was really the first time I was developing my subject matter expertise. But yes, I would say that my initial desire was to innovate in the industry for the accessibility of coaching to the world. Becoming a coach became later in the journey.
I guess the first thing that comes to mind is that demonstrates you're truly an entrepreneur at heart, right? I mean, you were thinking about how can I build a business using my financial background and my analytical background. But in some ways, it's much easier to just become a coach. I mean, had you always wanted to be an entrepreneur? Where did that energy come from?
It's a very good question, Jeff. And I don't think even today I have an answer, to be frank. No, it's true. I essentially, when I came to the US, I believed I would probably end up in finance. But, that's also where serendipity probably plays a role in life, in our respective lives. Because it has been really a set of encounters and personal experiences that put me on this journey. And of course, I will happy to share more about which encounters really made a difference. But it had been, something that came upon me rather than me seeking to become an entrepreneur.
AceUp, which is a very special and extremely challenging to take on, creating a whole network of coaching. And as I understand it, you're now a global organization working with large companies. Tell us a little bit about that process for you in terms of being a founder and thinking, okay, I'm going to devote my life to building a coaching company as opposed to just being a coach.
Yes, and I'll try to summarize the key moments of that journey because it has been a journey. As I mentioned earlier, it really started with the desire to solve a problem of accessibility and transparency. Exactly. And as we embraced that journey, we quickly started to speak with more coaches, understand their challenges, their pain points to grow their business. And on the other end, we started, of course, to engage with not only more clients, I would say more sophisticated clients, and also organizations beyond individuals. And this has helped us understand much more clearly what were key challenges within that industry. And if we really wanted to build a solution that can last, what were major problems we could sustainably solve through our innovation? When we started to deploy coaching and coaches at a larger scale within organization, we quickly saw that it was definitely providing value to individuals and to organization. However, to use the term of a mentor that I deeply appreciate, Peter Hawkins, when people don't grow together, they're likely to grow apart. And we quickly saw that if we didn't have a common framework to, yes, meet individuals where they are, providing this personalization that individuals need in their development journey, but also tying through a very intentional framework, driving these alignments within teams and organization, what we call ITO alignments, individual, teams, organization. Potentially, we had a risk to coach people in silos, which could also create, undesirable outcomes. And happy to expand more on this. Long story short, this is what had us evolve massively at this moment in our journey into a solution that is more software-centric, that we call SaaS, software as a service, but essentially would ensure that through the technology solution we design, we would not only deploy coaching at scale, we would deploy coaching at scale within context to move from this individual transformation to this collective transformation. And so this has been a critical evolution to a massive innovation that we have enabled through the team transformation engine, and how we could not only support the growth of individuals at scales, but teams at scales. And this is how step by step we moved from, essentially a marketplace to a B2B, a company-centric solution that was really aimed to drive this sustainable collective transformation. So, there has been key learnings in that journey that dramatically directed the outcomes of the company we would become.
I can just imagine. So if I understood you correctly, the starting point for you personally was, how do we get more people access to this incredible experience of being coached? You were already thinking about accessibility and broadening access to coaching however many years ago when you started AceUp. And I'm curious, what were some of the roadblocks? Because I know when I started as a coach 20 years ago, a long time ago, you really had to start at the top because that was the only place that they would spend money on coaching, basically, right? And even there, it was remedial. It was, we have this great senior executive that we're probably going to have to fire if you don't fix them, that kind of thing. The good news is it's evolved a lot since then. But I'm curious how what you ran into in the early days with this idea of access. Mm-hmm. What were some of the obstacles?
Yeah, it's a great question. And while, as you said, my journey might be different than many coaches because I wanted to build a business, not only a practice. But I think the challenge I face at this time is actually common to any coaches who might be listening to us right now.
Right.
Essentially, we're in an industry that is very much elitist, where you have subject matter experts, thought leaders with incredible academic accomplishments who have had successful careers in corporate America. Essentially, you need brand recognition. You need brand authority, credibility, which you don't have when you get started. And this is why the power of community, of alliances, I think is so fundamental. It was for us at AceUp, but I think it is for any coaches. And I will always remember Marshall Goldsmith, that we have the privilege to know, who told me very kindly, as soon as I met him, you seem to be a good guy. He didn't want to overly commit. He said, if I can help, feel free to use my name and let me know if I can connect you with anyone in the industry. I'd be happy to. And there was him. There was Carol Kaufman, also the founder of the IOC, who helped me connect with the thought leaders and the experts in the industry. And I've had the chance through that journey to build relationship with key thought leaders who essentially supported me and helped me build credibility and helped me build a brand. And so, yes, when you start, you don't have that credibility. Long story short, the idea is try to partner with someone who has that authority and who can help you step by step build your own brand and thought leadership. So that's really what we embraced, to engage with the experts and especially the IOC, which was a critical collaboration for us to be identified as a key players and a key thought leader in the space.
Absolutely. It's true for me too. I mean, in starting my career in coaching, I had been a psychologist, I worked as a therapist, but it was really through my relationships with the organizations. In fact, even some of my earlier patients as a therapist who actually, they had big jobs, in fact, in finance in New York at the time. So same kind of thing, networking with the people that I knew that had relationships and ultimately transitioning from a therapy practice to a coaching practice. And the rest is history, as they say. And I remember, same as you, I volunteered with the Institute of Coaching early on after meeting Carol Kaufman. And it was probably the best decision I ever made, not because it was like instant credibility, but because I got access to this wonderful network of sophisticated, knowledgeable practitioners. And I was just a sponge, learning everything that I could learn so that I could build my credibility and then also build my own network. So it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, we're just going to add something because what you say really resonates. This, as coaches, many of us are solo practitioners. So it is especially a field of work where, you can be isolated. And so the importance to me of finding a community. And that's what the IOC is. That's what we offer to every coaches at AceUp, an access to the IOC community. Because being part of this community, being able to connect with other thought leaders in the space, finding ways you can support one another, to me, that's an essential aspect of succeeding on the journey of building a great coaching practice.
I totally agree. I think it's a crucial element of also helping the profession to gain credibility as a profession. These days, people recognize coaching as being kind of ubiquitous. I mean, everybody hears about it. Everybody wants to have a coach. It's great, but it hasn't always been that way. So it's on the shoulders of folks like Carol and Marshall and others that we have been able to build this kind of network. And I think you're absolutely right. It's crucial for anyone stepping into the field to be thinking about building their community. I'd like to jump from that, which is more like baseline, to today. So let's jump right into it. There's all this conversation around artificial intelligence, and everybody's developing a bot, the Marshall bot, and so on. How is that impacting you? How is it impacting AceUp? What's your perspective?
Ready to advance your coaching practice? Join the Institute of Coaching and tap into the world's leading resource for coaching science and professional development. With over 4,000 members across 130 countries, the IOC offers invaluable networking opportunities with an elite global coaching community and innovative learning to broaden your knowledge and keep you at the forefront of coaching best practices. Engage in cutting-edge learning events with world-renowned coaching scholars, from webinars and seminars to discussion groups, research projects, and more. Try any membership free for 30 days. Use promo code IOC Podcast and visit instituteofcoaching.org/join to get started.
Yeah, there is no doubt that it's absolutely game-changing in our industry. And I try to break it down so that people understand, I mean, from my perspective, obviously, but what is going to change sustainably and what is essentially an evolution between how we leverage human and technology together.
Right.
But first of all, what is absolutely game changing? As you said, we have the chance to work with organizations and so coaches globally. And as you can imagine, the unit economics from a country, geographical area to another are very different. We have the chance to work with large IT software companies who have also large workforces in India. While we know very talented coaches in India, we have some in our network. Particular unit economic of this market are such that it's very difficult for entry to mid-level worker to provide them a human expert. And so, when we talk about the democratization of coaching, there is the desire, I would even say the hope, to try to be able to give an access to some type of coaching to any human on earth who needs it. And when we embraced, the LLM innovation through Gen AI in our space, it was quite amazing to see that people who could not have access to coaching, to any form of coaching, now can actually be introduced to a personalized coaching journey. And so this is something for me absolutely remarkable. My friend Anand, the CEO and founder of edX, 10 years ago, innovated with what we call the MOOC, Massive Open Online Courses, which was the first time we could bring education to underserved communities all over the world. And I think what we see with LLM also contributes to that innovation. And in that regard, it's beautiful. Now, of course, it raised some questions, right? There are some questions for organization about data privacy. We can talk about this, but it's a real topic. And there is also the question of what future for professional coaches. Yeah. And I would say that let's not forget that AI, first of all, is human augmented intelligence. I had a conversation not long ago with Yann LeCun, who is one of the godfather of AI, who works at Meta, and he told me, you should not be afraid of AI stealing your job. You should be terrified about people knowing how to use AI stealing your job. And I think that's just an amazing tool and innovation that has happened in our industry that we have to embrace and learn how to leverage to drive even more measurable impact for individuals and organizations. And last but not least, the part that makes me very excited is how we can supercharge the coaching expertise by combining extraordinary human coaches with extraordinarily innovative and disruptive technology. Not only in the field of coaches, we all know these nudges and prompts and this ability to drive this continuous reinforcement in between sessions, but also when we think about the organizational structure as a whole, how it can really transform OD, organizational developments, and how coaching at scale can also unleash the power of talent analytics and data to accelerate alignment through transformation at every level of an organization. There is, many things that we're working on that are very exciting, from the AI-powered team transformation engine to our talent OS, talent operating system. But I have absolutely no doubt that, yes, while we'll have to once again reinvent, transform ourselves in coaching, it is a source of incredible opportunity for the future of our industry.
Yeah, this is really powerful what you're sharing, because I think that there is a natural reaction that many people would have to these kinds of technology, like a tsunami of change that we're all experiencing, where it can bring on anxiety, can bring on fear. So I'd love to have you share more about what you're doing with AceUp, because I am in alignment with you that integration, growing together, the fact that it can give people maybe at the lower levels of organizations access to the experience of coaching earlier in their career so that they become hungry for it, and want to ultimately move on to working with, or a combination, of a live human coach with a bot or whatever. That truly does start to move us toward the democratization that you've been pointing to. So tell us about how you're seeing your company and what your folks are doing in that construct.
Yes, first of all, we started AceUp with one obsession, which was the quality of the coaching that we wanted to make accessible, and really embracing the framework of human-centered leadership that I know is dear to our hearts at the Institute of Coaching. And as I mentioned earlier, on this journey, we realized that we needed to go beyond the individual if we really wanted to do coaching at scale in the right way and to drive the right impact for organization. We have been through a peculiar time for the past 4 to 6 years. And during the pandemic, there was an unprecedented reckoning of mental health crisis. And we have seen at that time an unprecedented investment in individuals, in their well-being, in their resilience, in their mental health. And that movement was very important. On the other side of this, we have all experienced quite a unique and unprecedented market correction, economic downturn. Interest rates exploded, the cost of capital was very high. It was difficult to lead businesses in these environments. The reason why I mention this is because what we heard from our clients at that time was, how can we move from me to we? And while it's very important for us to meet individuals where they are, more than ever, we need to bring them back together in order to lead the next phase of transformation, realignment, recontracting. And this, as you can imagine, has only accelerated even further with the advent of AI. And that companies needed to go even further, faster in the way they were reinventing their business model, their organizational structure, and beyond. This led us to really try to build a platform ecosystem that, yes, could meet individuals where they are at scale to address their unique personal development needs and goals, but very intentionally drive these alignments within their team development goals and what we call the team of teams, the organization. And so this has led us to build one of the most comprehensive ecosystem for team transformation at scale. Of course, how we can transform the teams themselves, but how we can really transform teams systematically by also thinking about horizontal, vertical alignments, and how we can share best practices among teams across an organization to accelerate these transformation and performance. And in our team transformation engine today, the first wow moments we see with our clients is when we deploy our tool and we deploy our Team Compass, which incorporates incredible coaching science from Peter Hawkins, Hackman, Patrick Lencioni, Keith Ferrazzi, many others who have worked, David Clutterbuck, for years on performance. As soon as they fill in our Team Compass, right away, they can see the skill profile of their teams and how they are in terms of alignment, engagement, skill mastery, ultimately, performance. And really empowering team members and team leaders with a tool that can help them improve team dynamics and drive the necessary upskilling in their teams to ultimately support their mission as a team. And so I would say this is really what is unique about our approach at AceUp, is really our approach to team transformation, and how we always want to support individual transformation in the context of what mission, what goals we need to support as a team and as an organization.
when you're pointing towards the opportunity to integrate technology, whether it's AI or an analytics capability, an assessment ability, with the not just the individuals, as you said, but with the ecosystem of the organization, then you're really starting to be able to facilitate and provoke and help support the evolution of the culture of the organization, right? And move towards what's truly an innovative, high performing, sort of really getting at not just each person living up to their potential, but the entire system evolving. And that seems to be what you're focused on. Is that correct?
It's perfectly captured. And that's also how we tie this to a broader mission as an organization. We want to transform individuals, we want to transform teams, we want to transform organization. And through that prism, we want to transform their communities and the broader world. We see through this ability to drive systemic change at the organizational level, a real driver to aim to make this world a better place and driving in our broader society the systemic change that we need to see. So this has been always very close to our coaching expertise as well as our philosophy.
Last Friday, we had the Institute sponsors a quarterly tricky coaching case, where we have a gathering. To your point about our community, we gather as senior coaches, mostly pretty senior coaches, and we walk through some challenges, like we call them tricky coaching cases. And the one we did last Friday was around team coaching. And I can speak also from my own personal experience that coaching an individual is challenging by itself, just all the complexities of the, working with just a person. We are, as individuals, are complex. But then when you put a group together and then you get it to call itself a team, it multiplies the complexity. And I'm the first one to admit that I'm not always really good at it. I mean, it is really challenging to coach a team of people. There's a lot of confidentiality issues. There's a lot of process issues. There's a lot of diversity questions that come up. There's the hybridity. People are working virtually now. I know even my team at the Institute, we're all over the world, different time zones. So how do you become a great team coach?
I mean, what I can say as a practitioner in the field, I'm very grateful of the work the ICF is doing in also democratizing team coaching competencies and team coaching certification. I thank the word of the program provided by Renewal Associates and what we call a GTCI, Global Team Coaching Institute, and some of the very robust certifications and training program they have around systemic team coaching. So really how we think about coaching teams, but how we think about coaching teams in the context of the team of teams, the organization, and the systemic approach that we talked about. What I can add is while team coaching is definitely more complex than one-on-one coaching, no doubt. And as a matter of fact, it is also more challenging to scale. That's why the role of technology is critical. That's why the clarity and the robustness of our team coaching framework and methodology is critical. But there is also something that actually is very valuable to integrate team coaching in your practice. And this is the following. As we work with global organizations, more and more, they are seeking to integrate their different L&D solution, coaching, training providers. And they're trying to make it more data-centric. Can we measure the ROI of coaching? We can. But it's true that at the individual level, it is more challenging, even through aggregated data, to correlate this to a very specific business impact. We can look at formulas that are adopted by our industry around how we convert behavioral change to business impact, how we can measure the dollar value of increase in employee engagement and retention. There are many things we can do. But what is absolutely remarkable with team coaching is you can actually bring a team together to address a business challenge. And so while the upskilling and reskilling happens as the byproduct of how we solve that challenge together, the business impact is immediate and shared by multiple stakeholders. And you can even correlate what you do with teams to very specific OKRs and KPIs. And so there is an added complexity, but within the organizational context, it is absolutely transformational to demonstrate business impacts. And so, yes, you do have to find the right partner. And that's why for us, it was essential to build very strong expertise in systemic team coaching so that we don't improvise this. But thinking about how it can integrate in your broader coaching practice can help you bring a proposition to organization that they are more than ever in demand right now.
Yeah, no, I thank you for that. I think one of the big takeaways that you're pointing to in terms of the integration of technology and AI, and also the evolution of the profession, is that if we really want to impact organizations, we need to think beyond the scope of just one-on-one coaching. I'd like to end with just some reflections from you on how you see the profession evolving. What would you say to the next generation of coaches? We've gone through these cycles, So talk to us about your perception or your crystal ball for the future in terms of the evolution of the profession.
Yeah, thank you for this question. And 2 weeks ago, I was actually at the NYU Coaching and Technology Summit. And the reason I bring it up is because I was actually fascinated to discuss beyond our clients, because of course we have the perspective of our clients, but to also hear from the head of coaching at Netflix, the head of coaching at Apollo Global Management, massive player in financial services and technology, talk about their continuous mandates to bring coaching in the hands of everybody in the organization. And it has been fascinating to see the evolution of that industry, because we saw for some time, what we call L&D, learning and development, kind of the main entity in the organization, driving training, coaching, learning investments. Coaching was a bit a part of L&D. Coaching became an essential part of L&D. And now we actually see L&D essentially becoming a part of coaching. Coaching becoming the prism through which we drive personalized learning at every level of the organization. And that is game changing, that coaching is the prism through which learning is actually scaled and systematized in organization today. It's absolutely for us who have been, as you said, in this industry for some time, but who saw especially the evolution of the past year, it's absolutely game changing. It's very true that the first wave of the democratization of coaching probably didn't kept all its promises. And now with the advent of AI, more than ever, we can absolutely put something in the hands of absolutely everyone in the organization. And so this vision for where coaching is heading as an industry, for me, is naturally beyond thrilling and beyond exciting. It also means that, if we want to really scale it, we cannot bring the same coaching quality at all levels of the organization. We're obsessed about quality at AceUp. We bring coaching and also coaching to teams up to the C-suite of organization, naturally with coaches who have a different profile than those who are still, extremely qualified and competent that we bring to entry-level employees and new managements. But naturally, we look at different coaches' profile based on which part of the organization we're going to serve. And the reason I'm saying this is because we see the coaching industry continuously booming. I don't know if you saw these numbers by the ICF, but I think the growth of coaches globally is more than 50 or 60% in the past 5 years, which is insane. I don't think personally it's too much coaches. I just think you have to really think about what coach you want to be. As this future of coaching is unraveling, coaching will become more and more ubiquitous, but I think your positioning in that industry will be critical if you want to build a successful coaching practice. We're talking about good to great earlier. I think it's more than ever important to be very clear on your niche, on your positioning. Who do you want to serve? Why? Why are you more equipped to serve that persona, that profile than anyone else? But also it's important that you collaborate with the right organization. I profoundly believe that. There is many certifications out there. There are some I think the word about, some others I would not necessarily recommend them. That's why, collaborating with the IOC, with the ICF, with many of these landmark organizations in our industry make a difference. And so I think that, it is a booming industry. If you want to make a place in that industry in the future, it's important that you really think about the coach you want to be.
So well said. Well, the good news is that I hear in you a profound optimism for the future of coaching. We haven't peaked yet. There's still opportunity. I, for one, am thrilled to know that companies like yours and with a vision like yours are around to take us into that next future. So I am excited to be kicking off this series where we're going to talk about a lot of the things that you've just pointed out, how to be a great coach, how do you build a niche, how do you deal with challenges, all of those things. So it's really been great to kick this off with you, Will. I want to thank you again for taking the time. I want to thank you for being such a great partner with the Institute of Coaching, and wish you all the best as you take AceUp to the next level of ecosystem coaching and beyond. And I want to thank everyone for joining us. And just a quick reminder to go to instituteofcoaching.org. If you're not a member, make sure you join to get all the benefits, not just listening to podcasts. Also, track down Will at AceUp. Do you want to have a best way for folks to find you if they want to follow up with you, Will?
I love LinkedIn, Jeff.
LinkedIn.
I love LinkedIn.
Okay.
So if you want to follow the work we do, feel free to look me up on LinkedIn, my personal page, our company page, AceUp. Thank you so much again, Jeff, for this time together this morning. I'm really excited about our collaboration together, and I'm excited to lead the future of coaching together, truly.
Likewise. Well, thank you. And thank you all for listening, and stay tuned. In a couple of weeks, there'll be a new edition out for the successful coaching journey. So stay tuned. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Coaching Revealed, brought to you by the Institute of Coaching. You can learn more about the Institute on our website at instituteofcoaching.org. You can stay up to date with new episodes of our podcast by liking and following Coaching Revealed. You can also find us on social media on LinkedIn, Instagram, and X with the handle Institute of Coaching. We also love hearing from our guests, so please reach out to us with thoughts you have on this episode and any questions you have about coaching. Until next time, this is Emily Tarani with Coaching Revealed.